shit.
I gave him a call one day and I said, I heard that you are going to punk me, and I just don't think that's a good idea. I
kind of don't think that that's the way you said it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, then you tell the story.
I'm pretty sure that's not the way you said it. Okay. I don't think that's a good idea. Is that what you said?
If Ashton Kutcher thought that his Diddy problems were going to end in 2022, boy, he has a major shocker coming. Because Diddy's former bodyguard just did a deep dive where he exposed how involved Ashton was with Diddy. And girl, when I tell you that your jaws are about to be on the floor, I'm not even joking. We all thought that Ashton just loved him some wild freak all parties and nothing more. But according to Gene, there's much more to that than we know. Like when Ashton's then-girlfriend passed away under the same mysterious circumstances as Diddy's girlfriend, Kim Porter. If you think that's suspicious, well, you'd better get set for this. Because there is so much more insanity that's been going on. So, let's break this down. As bad as the whole situation is, it's not surprising that Ashton Kutcher is being exposed for some seriously shady stuff given how tight they were for years. Ashton and Diddy first met back in the early 2000s when Ashton was running his hit MTV show, Punk'd. Ashton had cooked up this wild idea to prank Diddy, who at the time was busy hunting for the next big pop group on Making the Band. But Diddy wasn't about to play along. He hit up Ashton directly, told him to scrap the plan, and Ashton respected it. Funny enough, that quick exchange turned into the start of an unexpected friendship. Fast forward a few years and Ashton and Diddy were out here living their best lives. Together, it was clear Diddy had a lot of love and respect for Ashton, so much so that when Ashton landed a spot on Times Magazine's 100 Most Influential People in the World list, Diddy didn't hold back. He was front and center hyping Ashton up and giving him his well-deserved flower. He said, "Kutcher is a sounding board for me. Like me, he's a mogul, a new media mogul. But we're yin and yang, I am in your face. But he is understated cool." Swab, but even with that, it wasn't surprising that Ashton was one of the first celebs to dumb Diddy. Once he got exposed, fans started putting two and two together. And it didn't take long for them to figure out that Ashton's disappearing act probably has something to do with the fact that he was trying to avoid drawing attention to himself, given how he also has something of a sketchy past. For example, do y'all remember how hard he and his wife Muniz got dragged when they chose to defend their friend Danny Masterson after he got exposed for, say, Ashton wrote, Masterson had been nothing but a positive influence on him throughout his life over our 25-year relationship. I don't ever recall him lying to me. He's taught me about being direct and confronting issues in life and relationships head-on, resolving them and moving forward. Danny is a
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that.
Person that is consistently there for you when you need him. While I'm aware that the judgment has been cast as guilty on 2 counts of great by force, and the victims have a great desire for justice, I hope that my testament to his character is taken into consideration and sentencing. I can honestly say that no matter where we were or who we were with, I never saw my friend be anything other than the Gu I have described. Meanwhile, Mila described Masterhorn as an amazing friend, confidant,
Rat. Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you
really?
have one, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I've got a lot. I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked, because he was like, yo,
Don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table. And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out, watch football together.
And, above all, an outstanding older brother figure to me. She also wrote his caring nature and ability to offer guidance have been instrumental in my growth, both personally and professionally. Unfortunately for Ashton and MAAA, those letters didn't stay private. For long, when they went public,
Ashton Kutcher was also friends with Brittany Murphy, who also was friends with P. Diddy, who also died the same death as Kim Porter. Now, Ashton Kutcher as well also runs a child protection thing, I think it's called Fawn, where he's trying to save children. But we know now a lot of these people use this thing for child to actually not expose it, but to gain from their own benefit.
fans were furious that the couple had backed someone facing such serious accusation. The backlash was swift and brutal, leaving Ashton and Mila no choice but to hop on Instagram with an apology video trying to explain themselves. But it still doesn't end there, because there's also how Ashton was pretty much forced to step down from his anti-charity thorn. Because of his shady behavior in history, Ashton eventually stepped down from Thorn after the heat from his questionable behavior became too much to handle. And let's be real, Diddy isn't the only shady friendship Ashton's been tied up in. We need to talk about that case in point back in 2019 when Ashton appeared. On Hot Ones, Sean Evans tried to get the scoop on Diddy's exclusive events, but Ashton wasn't about to spill any tea. Instead, he shut that conversation down real quick and changed the subject, leaving everyone wondering what he was trying so hard to keep under wrap. Well, Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Dill, just spilled his 2 cents on Ashton, and it looks like whatever we thought we knew about Diddy and Ashton is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how deep Ashton and Diddy were. Allegedly in Together, for example, the topic of actress Brittany Murphy came up, and the interviewer pointed out how, well, weird it was that
I was around Ashton Kutcher and Diddy before, and they were speaking about Brittany Murphy. And I don't think I ever told this story, and I'm about to tell this story here. While he was married to Demi Moore, he was still sneaking around seeing Brittany Murphy. You understand? We were going to a Nets game, so we picked him up, and he was explaining to Diddy that every time he goes to Brittany's house, paparazzi always catches him or almost catch him coming out her apartment or coming out the building. And Diddy was telling him that's either the doorman or your security. You know what I'm saying? And he was still married to Demi Moore at the time. So you could have something, you could be right. Because it's crazy how they said her and Kim and some other individual with them or around them all died of pneumonia, and they were in perfect health.
Brittany died under the same shady circumstances as Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter. It's interesting that he brought up Brittany Murphy, because fans are beginning to question the circumstances that led...
He's not guilty of this, but he arranged a date. He was late for that date, and when he got to the girl's house, he looked through the window. She was stabbed 47 times. The man ended up getting charged.
To her death, Brittany Murphy was tragic found dead at just 32 years old, And while the official cause was ruled as pneumonia, fans weren't buying it. They couldn't shake the feeling that something darker was going on behind the scenes. And then things got even. Wilder, her husband Simon M. Jack, also died. Just 5 months later, the same house, same cause, pneumonia too, seemingly. Healthy people both gone in such a short time from the exact same thing. It had conspiracy theories flying left and right. Some people pointed to toxic mode as the culprit, but others were convinced it was way more sinister and that there was some sort of cover-up going on. But wait, because Brittany Murphy's dad is convinced she was poisoned. Yep, he's not here for the official story. And honestly, a lot of people are starting to side-eye the whole situation too. It's looking shadier by the minute. And just when you think it couldn't get messier, here's the kicker: the coroner, who handled Brittany's autopsy, is the same guy who worked on Kim Porter's second autopsy. You know, Diddy's ex. He ruled both deaths as pneumonia, the first coroner who performed. Kim's autopsy noted that there were some shady and suspicious toxins in her body, but for some reason he was removed from the case. After he made his findings, the second coroner gave the pneumonia diagnosis, and just when the case started to get public attention, the first coroner mysteriously passed away under some interesting circumstances, with Brittany's dad claiming foul play. In Kim's case, raising eyebrows. You can't help but wonder what's really going on here, so what does this have to do with Brittany? Well, in an interesting turn of events, Gandale claimed that Brittany allegedly had an affair with Ashton while he was still married to Demi Moore. It gets worse, because as it turns out, Brittany was not Ashton's only girlfriend who passed away under mysterious circumstances, but he had another girlfriend who was brutally unalive. Just a few minutes before, he arrived at her house for a date. Night fans have pointed out how weird it is that Ashton had 2 girlfriends who passed away under the shadiest circumstances.